Okay, Ryan, I'm just going to give you your video feedback for your submission for the Advanced 3D Animation module. I've had a good look through it, so let's go through it together. Okay, so to begin with, it's an interesting audio clip you've chosen. There's plenty of visual kind of connotations that we could think of for that, so that's good choice. Turn the audio down. Right, so I think it's good that you've had a go at doing the digital sculpting of this. I mean, I threw that kind of in the mix a little bit, the digital sculpting, because there were one or two of you that did want to make them more complex, slightly more organic, modelled objects. So it made sense for you to do that, and I think you've done a good job of that, actually. I do feel, however, that the render that you've got there seems to be quite heavily compressed in places. A little bit of banding and a few artifacts there. It looks like it's some compression issues. It's a shame because I know you went to town a little bit on the sculpting of it. Like there's some little dings and knocks to it and scratches and things, which I don't really think come through in the render. It's a shame really, but I know you've done. And let's continue on. I did like the falling coffee elements. It's good because it kind of fills out the rest of the area a little bit. You know, it adds a little more to the animation side of things, which is good because I mean, just this spinning around on its own is relatively easy to achieve. But having everything's fall down in the background is good. I'm not sure from this whether those were all keyframed or whether that was a particle system you set up to do that. But either way, it's effective. I think perhaps I might have suggested you choose a different background. However, for this, in hindsight, it looks like this is very dusk-like, and therefore it would lead me to think that these might be quite dark, which of course they are a little bit. So maybe maybe a brighter background might have lifted everything a little bit and promoted a little bit more the idea of a brighter environment, so more controlled lighting or something like that. Anyway, let's move on. It's a nice little transition. I like the fact that the transition happens before these are finished falling as well. That's good, so it's not like one thing completely ends and the next starts. It's a gradual sort of fade out of things. It's a nice little transition there. Good. Again, quite nicely modelled. Not clear from this technique that you used to model it, with box modelling or maybe a lathe or something like that. But either way, it works. It functions quite well. With this, it might have been good to see maybe you have a look at different kind of properties of textures. Maybe make that look a little bit more plastic or glass-like. A little bit of highlight on there or something like that would have been good. I'm just thinking more kind of from a graphical standpoint. You probably could have made this like it looks like it's made of maybe 3 different materials. So this is more of a rubber. This is maybe a plastic rubbery sort of bit, and then this could be a hard plastic or even glass or something like that. The animation of it is fine, but I mean, there's only so much you can do with that as an object in terms of animation, I suppose. That's a nice transition as well. That's good. Yeah, these shadows need sorting out. They're really boxy. It's a bit of a Minecraft sort of theme going on there. I think that's to do with the shadow type you probably used. That I'm guessing is shadow map rather than a ray trace shadows. You probably, if you want to stick with shadow map, then you need to up some of the settings slightly, make it a higher resolution texture mapping. Okay, yeah. All right. So overall, I like your approach to this. You've tackled some things which I think have challenged you, which is good. You should always be doing that. You'll be ambitious with your work. I'm pleased that you've had a go at kind of things which are outside of let's say the main requirements of what you wanted to make. So things a bit like driftwoods and trees and rocks and things and what have you, because it just shows that you're trying to set the scene as well as just show literally what has been said. Said this, so I'm going to make exactly that sort of style. So I'm pleased with that. You really do set the scene there. I think in terms of animation, it's probably a little bit limited. I'd perhaps like to have seen you do a little more maybe with the coffee bean. I mean, if you really wanted to push it, you could have perhaps made it into like a little characterized it slightly. maybe have, as these fall, maybe you see them hit the ground and then, bounce off, or you could have just done something a little bit more, I think, with it. That said, you put some good stuff together. I don't know if those beans are keyframed or the particle systems, but you've made it work. It functions. I know what's going on there. That's one of the main sort of features of the thing. The camera works pretty well. I mean, this is the only real kind of animated camera, which again is well controlled. It works well from that transition. I think perhaps with this, because I'm assuming this is the sand and the sea, maybe you could have had a little bit more kind of texture to that. Maybe a picture map on the sand to make it a little bit more sand-like. You could even try a little bit of motion blur, maybe, if it's running pretty fast. This. And then I just think the other thing is probably just a little bit more work on the lighting. But this is quite dark compared to sort of this, and certainly compared to this. I think that would have helped things. But overall, it's a good effort. I like what I see. I particularly like your attempt at some more difficult stuff like the modelling and things. I think to push it to the next level, I would have probably tried to get some elements in there which are a little bit more animation friendly, let's say. Something which has got a little bit more of an obvious movement to it. Coffee bean, difficult to think how that would move other than kind of dropping it from a height as you've done. Coffee machine, maybe you could have had something looks like it's kind of pouring out of it, or you could probably falling from the top and land or something like that. You maybe do a little bit more with it. So what was there is good. I just think it's probably the animation side needed pushing just a little bit. Okay, cheers.